On this channel, we once celebrated history in the making, the swearing in of East Africa's first female president. We called it progress. We called it hope. And then one morning, we woke up and realized that power had quietly changed its face, not its behavior. Family, this is not the story we were promised. This is the story that grew in the silence between speeches. When Samia Suluhu Hassan stepped into power after Magufuli's sudden death in March of 2021, the world applauded. Headlines called her a breath of fresh air. But now, 3 years later, the same fresh air or the same air smells of fear. Because in the land of Nyerere, the land that once spoke of Ujamaa, unity, and freedom, the whispers grew louder. Arrests, censorships, surveillance. And the question on every Tanzanian's lips is no longer who leads. It's who's being silenced while they lead. Let's start where the story begins, or where the story began. March 19th, 2021. Tanzania swore in Samia Suluhu Hassan as its first female president following the sudden death of John Pombe Magufuli. It was a solemn moment. She stood there, hands on the Constitution, dressed in calm authority. The crowd saw a leader stepping forward, but history saw a question mark. Who was she really? A reformer or a placeholder? A new chapter or a final paragraph of Magufuli's unfinished book? At first, she moved with caution. She reopened banned media outlets, released some political prisoners, and extended an olive branch to opposition leader Freeman Mbowe. The West cheered. The African Union smiled. Diplomats rushed back to Dar es Salaam. But behind that charm offensive, a different game was unfolding. You see, power doesn't always announce itself with thunder. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it wears silk gloves while it builds iron walls. Under Magufuli, Tanzania was known for discipline, strict, sometimes brutal. Under Samia, the tone softened, but the machinery stayed. Journalists reported cautiously, still shadowed by old laws. Opposition rallies remained restricted under new jurisdiction, public order, security concerns. And when critics spoke too loud, they vanished quietly into the night. In 2022, when human rights groups demanded reform of Tanzania's Cybercrime and Media Act, her government promised review, not repeal. The censorship didn't stop, it evolved. And by 2023, political analysts were whispering, this is the same system wearing a different smile. Let's unpack how she consolidated control. First, the party. Chama cha Mapinduzi, CCM, the longest ruling party in Africa. Built by Nyerere, shaped by loyalty, perfected by Magufuli, and now guarded by Samia. Through internal reshuffles, she replayed key Magufuli loyalists with her own allies, regional commissioners, intelligence heads, party financiers. She built a new inner circle that owed her, not the late president. Second, the security apparatus. See, under her, the Tanzania Intelligence and Security Service, TISS, expanded its digital surveillance wing. Online criticism, private WhatsApp groups, even satirical content tracked and flagged. Freedom of speech now required permission slips. Third, the narrative. She embraced global media through BBC interviews, investment forums, feminist panels. Her tone was modern, inclusive, progressive. But domestically, the opposition complained that democracy was shrinking and not expanding. It's the old political tactic in politics. Appear liberal abroad, rule by loyalty at home. Then came 2023, the year the mask began to slip. After months of reconciliation talks, opposition parties demanded electoral reform ahead of 2025. They wanted independent oversight, a fair commission, digital transparency. The ruling party said, not yet. Protests began. Small, scattered, peaceful. Police responded with tear gas. Dozens arrested in Mwanza, Arusha, Dar. And then the silence returned. The kind of silence that hums before a storm. Reports emerged that state broadcasters were instructed not to air opposition coverage. Some journalists received verbal warnings. Others simply stopped showing up to work. Samia, once hailed as a unifier, began to look more like a gatekeeper. Now let's talk what's coming, the 2025 elections. Analysts and insiders alike are warning the playing field is already tilted. And here's why. Well, one, the Electoral Commission is still appointed by the president. It's still operated by CCM shadow, right? Opposition request for observer reform declined. The second one, the voter rolls. Tanzania's National Electoral Commission has faced recurring allegations of ghost voters and suspicious purges in opposition strongholds. Critics say that database updates are happening behind closed doors. The third is the media space. Opposition ads face long approval delays. Meanwhile, state TV ran campaign coverage that looks more like campaign promotions. The next is the gender shield. Whenever critics question Samia's governance, guess what? Her defenders somehow call it misogyny. It's a dangerous shield that confuses accountability with sexism. It's silencing legitimate scrutiny behind feminist rhetoric. Because progress for women must not be used as protection for corruption. That is manipulation disguised as equality. So, who benefits from this tightening grip? Foreign investors, for one. See, since 2022, Tanzania has reopened large-scale gas import deals with Western and Chinese companies. Billions are pouring in while locals complain of displacements, environmental destruction, and unpaid compensation. The elites get contracts, rural poor get promises. And as global cameras focus on photo ops, ordinary Tanzanians are quietly asking, why do we still struggle to afford maize and medicine while our leaders attend investment summits? The answer is simple. The wealth has changed hands, not direction. By late 2024, political analysts described Tanzania as a hybrid democracy. Translation, elections exist, but the outcome doesn't surprise anyone. And yet, President Samia continues to command praise from abroad. She's hailed as a stabilizing force by Western think tanks, a progressive leader by donor agencies. But ask the journalists in Mwanza, ask the activists in Dar, ask the youth who lost scholarships because their protests were deemed unpatriotic. They'll tell you stability means silence, and silence means surrender. The strategy is psychological. Calm the chaos, brand it as peace, and sell it to the world as leadership. But beneath the calm, the people simmer. Ironically, Samia's biggest rival isn't the opposition. It's the ghost of her predecessor. Magufuli ruled with an iron fist. Samia rules with velvet gloves. But the result, the same. Obedience over openness. Many Tanzanians now say Magufuli made us fear the government. Samia made us doubt it. That is a different kind of control, not through fear, but fatigue. When citizens are too tired to hope, they stop resisting. And that, family, is the most efficient form of dictatorship. Power learned to whisper. But every silence breaks. Every mask cracks. Across Tanzania's youth, from Mbeya to Zanzibar, online activism is growing. They are recording, documenting, exposing in Swahili, English, encourage. They are the generation that no longer waits for permission to speak. They watch their parents tolerate opposition in the name of peace. They refuse to inherit it. And while her government prepares to secure victory in 2025, the people are preparing to reclaim their voice, not with violence, but with visibility. Because truth once seen can't be unseen. Family, Tanzania's story is not isolated. From Zimbabwe to Uganda, from Senegal to Kenya. We keep celebrating change in faces while ignoring the sameness in systems. We can no longer confuse representation with liberation. We can't let feminism be weaponized to hide authoritarianism. We can't let soft words replace hard justice. This is a call to every African youth, every journalist, every citizen. Watch your leaders closely, even the ones who smile, because tyranny rarely comes with a warning. So to President Samia, history is still watching. And to the people of Tanzania, the world is listening. The storm may be quiet now, but silence, when stretched too far, becomes thunder. This is One Africa Network, the voice of Africa, where stories are told by us, for us, and never against us.